Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GoWP Expert series today. We're here with Tricia Clements. We will get started in just a minute, so I just want to wait and let some people come in. If you are here, you can go ahead and say hi in the chat, and we should see that over here on Restream, and let us know where you're watching from. And while we get set up, I just want to say a couple words about GoWP for those watching who may not be fully familiar. I'm Emily from GoWP, and we are here today for the GoWP Expert Series live with Tricia Clements on Google Business Profile and Local SEO. And today we're going to be talking about Google reviews. So if you're watching again, say hi, let us know you're here. We are live streaming right now in the Digital Agency Owners Facebook group. We are live streaming on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, I think. So wherever you're watching from, say hi, let us know. Really quick, just a few words about GoWP. At GoWP, we like to say that we create happiness for digital agencies and help them to become more profitable. So whether you're looking to grow your team with a copywriter, a developer, a designer, or a virtual assistant, or you're interested in outsourcing services like website maintenance and content edits, so that you're able to focus on growing your agency, we've got you covered. And we've also built that Facebook group that I've told you about. So that is a digital agency owners community where we are live streaming right now. It's an active community of more than 2,000 agency owners where we do events such as this, these GoWP Expert Series. We also have happiness hour calls on Fridays. So if you're not a member, we'd love to have you there. And I'll post a link in the comments in just a minute. If you have any questions about partnering with GoWP to help you grow your agency or having a conversation to learn more about that, feel free to reach out on our website, or you can email me, emily@gowp.com. So let's get to why we're here. Tricia Clements. Tricia is a true expert when it comes to all things Google Business Profile and local SEO. If you hang out in any of the digital agency owner Facebook groups, you probably already know that, because whenever there's a question, everyone's tagging Tricia. Hey, Tricia, you're the expert over here. Let's have you weigh in. She is the owner of Your Biz Watchdog, and I'll share a link to that as well, which focuses on local SEO. She helps agency owners by providing white label Google Business Profile, which is formerly Google My Business, management. And Tricia has extensive experience in helping clients with problem Google Business Profile accounts and suspensions through her Google Business Profile Fix-It services. And she lives in Florida with her rescue dog, Moxie. But she's not in Florida now, but she lives there normally. So, hey, Tricia.
Right now, Marietta, Georgia.
Welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Doing well, doing well. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to talk to everybody today about reviews. There have been a lot of different things in the last year going on, and also get a lot of questions about different things happening with reviews and with businesses getting reviews and not knowing what to do with certain issues that arise. So I thought I would address that. I'm going to put in here for Emily to put some links in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen for just to start off with. But I'm going to not share a whole lot, but just this one screen I want to talk about. So this is I mentioned a couple months ago the local search ranking factors that WhiteSpark does every year, and as you can see over here, review signals, they're a specific in the a factor for ranking. So that's why it's something that's really important and wanted to talk to you all about. And you can see here when you look at the local search ranking factors, it's 16% of the local pack and finder ranking factors. And so that's a pretty big percentage of that. It's in the top 3 at 16%. And the other thing you'll want to look at, our reviews have a big impact on conversion. So a lot of times people are always focused on rank, and I like to focus a lot on conversion, because ranking is one thing, it's good, it gets you noticed, but is that then converting into actual customers? So we're going to look at the conversion factors, and you can see that it is number 1, high numerical ranking, basically the number star. So 4 to 5 star in that range is good, and what a lot of users look for. Positive sentiment in the review text. So basically, I will say that reviews that have text are are really a lot more valuable than just somebody's giving you a 5-star review and not having text in it. So really getting those quality reviews is really important. If you look at number 4, the quantity of native Google reviews with text, so how many reviews you've got. And then we'll skip down here. Let's see, number 11, recency of reviews. So it's one of these things you really need to work on getting reviews over time, and not just you get a certain number of reviews and you're done. You don't want to do that. You want to work on getting reviews over time. The other thing that's really important is that you don't want to have just like a burst of reviews and then stop. You want it to basically have a sustained influx of reviews, which it's really important to put a system in place. So I'm going to go through some different things, tips and things for you about reviews and what's going on with Google with reviews now. And this is valuable for you, for your business, but also especially for your clients. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, because I'm just going to go through and talk about some different things. And I'm hoping for some reason, let's see, it says the tab is using my camera or microphone. So hoping that you all can see me, because I am not seeing myself on the screen. So I will, I guess because I stopped sharing, I'm not sure why it did that, but let me close that down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and keep talking, and hopefully you all can see me okay. Don't you love these technical things? All right. So first thing is putting a review system in place. You're going to first make sure that you are asking in person for the reviews, and then following up with the email, text to make sure you're getting those reviews. Now, one thing that you want to keep in mind is that, whoops, I'm sorry, my computer is giving me different messages. Okay. When you're getting reviews and you're just starting out, one thing you want to do is get your first 10 reviews. Those are really important, and because once you get that first 10, you do get a bump in ranking. And then from there, I would look at your competitors, get more reviews than your competitors have. And then from there, work on getting 100 reviews, because you get another bump in your ranking at 100 reviews. And the next thing is you want to make sure that you don't violate Google guidelines, because if you do, they can remove all of your, okay, frozen at the moment. Your sound is coming through, no longer frozen. Good, because I can now see you all. All right, I was just talking away and hoping you guys could hear me. Okay, so I'm going to post a link here for Google's guidelines on reviews. Again, it's really important that you make sure that you're not going against Google's guidelines, because again, it's Google. They can, if they decide that you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, they can remove all of your reviews. So a couple things I want to highlight. One thing is what's called review gating. You've probably heard of this, but there are a couple of different ways to review gate. It's either when asking for a review or displaying a review. So basically, review gating is when you're asking for a review and you ask for someone for how the service was or how the product or business was. When they say great, then you say leave a review. If they say not so good, you don't also give them an opportunity to leave a review. So that is review gating when you're asking for reviews. Now, the other is review gating when you're displaying reviews. So think of this when you're doing a website and you're putting, let's say you've got a review widget on the bottom where they can see different reviews, kind of scroll through and they can see that. So there's also something that they consider review gating when you're displaying your reviews. And this is something that the FTC has gotten involved in. And so just want to first make you all aware of it. I'm going to share a link that has information from the FTC, because you guys, this is the government here. We want to make sure that we're compliant and that you're not doing something that's going to get you or your clients in trouble. So basically what that is that in January of 2022, the FTC fined a business $4.2 million for review gating when they were displaying reviews. Basically, what happened was a business was displaying all their positive reviews, but when you actually went and looked on, and I'm not sure if this was Google or a different platform that they were getting their reviews, it was probably, I don't remember the exact number, but it was significantly lower than a 5-star. It was, they had bad reviews, was the bottom line, but their website showed that they had all 5-star reviews. So that's really important to make sure when you're displaying reviews that if you've got all 5-star reviews, then that's good. However, if you've got quite a few negative reviews, but those aren't reflected, you kind of, what Google or what the FTC is really looking for is, are you having is it reflective of your actual reviews? So if you're only showing 5-star, but when you go off to Google or Yelp or wherever, and you have like a 3.8, that would not be reflective of the business, and they would have an issue with that. So one thing you want to make sure is that, so you are allowed to not include all reviews on your website. However, there are different reasons that you would filter those reviews. And a lot of it has to do with abusive content, things like that. Whether it is just the language, different things that you would not want associated with your business. So those things you can filter out. However, you do need to have a review terms of service on your website that reflects the different scenarios that you filter out. So that's definitely something important and something that you'll want to be aware of and understand if you're doing these review widgets, because the FTC basically is saying that businesses cannot say, well, my marketer did it for me, so I don't know anything about it. The FTC says that's not a good enough answer. And they've also said that the marketer saying, well, you know, I just set up what the business asked me to, that's not a good answer either. So if you're setting these up, you need to be aware and make sure that you're not going in and just saying, don't put any negative reviews on the website. You need to have a talk with the client about that and see as far as going forward. And I posted a link there. Let's see. Well, you can go to it's the ftc.gov/reviews, and you can take a look about what they've got and what they recommend. So you definitely want to make sure that you are compliant and you don't want to get yourself in trouble for that. So, and one thing, so there are review platforms. Like I said, you do want to make sure that you are soliciting and asking for reviews. And the best way to do that is to have some type of system in place. And there are a lot of platforms out there to help you with that. And it's not just the personal in-person ask, which is the first and most important one. It's also the follow-up, whether email or text. However, there's so many different platforms out there. The FTC did send out notices to 10 of those saying that they didn't like their practices and they needed to shape up. And so I would say if you or your client are using any of those, to make sure that they have complied now, because those are kind of ones that were being looked at. I would say that they probably have gone in and updated those to be compliant, because the FTC sent these letters out to them. Let's see, we have a question that says, we sometimes copy and paste reviews onto a page, not a widget. Is that the same as using a widget though? So yeah, so basically I was using the term widget because that's what a lot of businesses do. They want to pull them directly. But yeah, as far as copy and paste, yes, you can do that. Again, the FTC does want to know that your reviews are reflective of your reviews that are actually out on that independent website. So basically, And here's the thing, and I know a lot of people have trouble with this, and I have issues with it as well, because a lot of people are saying, well, if I get a 1-star review, I'm not putting a 1-star review on my website. And so I think the main thing is, like, if you look at all your reviews that you're posting on the website, and you're all showing 5-star, but you go someplace else and it's a really low star, then that is definitely something that you need to, I would say I wouldn't put those reviews, all those 5 stars on there, if that's not reflective of what you actually have. So Jeanette says, would this be the same in the UK in terms of getting in trouble? So the FTC is the US. Having said that, I don't know what is out there in the UK, so these things that I talk about are the US. However, Google is implementing some things as well, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, which is basically because of the FTC doing this, has kind of triggered that Google doing some different things. So I would just be aware of it and what's going on. And as far as the UK, I would check there. I don't know if the UK has anything similar to this. I would say if they don't, they may well, because the way GDPR started out over there, and now we're getting all these other different privacy things here. So sometimes it starts one place and it ends up going someplace else. So if they don't have it, maybe it's something to look at, because it's possibly some changes could be in the future. You never know. So that kind of goes over review gating. Just be very careful when you're asking for and displaying reviews. And so the next thing I want to talk about is review hopping. That's another do not do. Review hopping is basically like if you're getting together with other business owners and leaving each other reviews. That is not something you want to do. I know some different networking groups will say, oh, well, we'll just get together and leave each other reviews. Please don't do that. Google can see when you're leaving each other reviews, and Google knows that. You could get in trouble, lose those reviews, also have issues with your profile. So definitely don't engage in any of that. You definitely want to make sure that you're only leaving reviews for people that do business with you. You're only asking for people to leave reviews that have interacted with you and done business with your business. The next thing I want to talk about are incentives. So this basically is Google and the FTC says, well, first off, let me talk about Google, because it is a little bit different. Google says do not offer any incentive in exchange for reviews. This includes things like contests and giveaways. It's against Google guidelines, so definitely do not offer any incentives. One thing to note is that the FTC, that they have fined businesses for practices, especially if, the FTC is a little different. They say that you can incentivize, but it's got to be stated there in the review that there was an incentive. Google says you can't, they don't allow any incentivizing, even if it's stated in the review. That's not allowed at all. So the FTC does have a resource on soliciting reviews as far as what's allowed there. So I'm going to post that here for you all as well. It's basically like a review, a guide for marketers. I do recommend, if you're working with your clients and getting reviews, that's something good that you definitely want to take a look at. So again, the FTC says, you can incentivize, but you've got to disclose it. That's the FTC. Google says do not incentivize at all. That's not just monetary, but contests, giveaways, things like that. The other thing when it comes to incentivizing reviews, let's say you get your client gets a bad review, and they reach out to the customer and say, we're sorry, what can we do to make this right? And whatever, they redo the work, whatever it is that they're doing, at the end, the customer walks away happy. You do not want to then ask them to update their review to positive. That Google looks at that as some type of an incentive. So what you need to do is instead, once like let's say they've gotten a bad review, they've rectified it, the customer is happy. Instead of saying, please update your review, don't do that. You'll basically send them an email saying, oh, please leave us a review. So you're not saying update it, you're just saying leave us a review. It'll take them, once they click on that, if they're logged into that same user on Google, it will take them to their review and they can update it themselves with, so that's how that works. Don't ask them to update their review, just ask them to leave a review. So let's see, question from Brian. What about if a genuine customer leave a review, they become a customer after the fact? Any pitfalls to be aware of? Well, so one thing is on that, I would, let me think about this. You leave a review and then they become a customer. If at all, one thing I would recommend doing is, if you're out there leaving Google reviews, I would use a different email address to leave reviews as what you're using for your business to manage things. That way, even though once they become a customer, you still have separate accounts when you're leaving reviews. That kind of helps split things apart so that it's not the same email address. I haven't seen anything like, as far as, you've left a review and then a while later that person becomes your client. So I have not seen anything like that, but that doesn't mean that Google could come in and possibly remove the review. So you have, let's see, Brian says he has a personal and an agency Google account. Yeah, I would use your personal account for reviews, and then your agency account if you're working and managing any accounts, and keep those separate. One thing to remember for your personal account, and when you have an account that you're leaving reviews for, you don't need to use your real name. You can just come up with a username. So that may help to just change it so it's a little bit different. It doesn't have the same thing. Maybe have a separate personal one that is just for leaving reviews if that's something that you're concerned about. Definitely something, because I know I've got two separate accounts that I use for reviews, and depending on where it is and what I'm doing, I'll leave those reviews there. So okay, so the next thing is I mentioned not bulk soliciting reviews, because a lot of times they don't stick. One thing that you do need to make sure that your clients are aware of is if they are in any type of healthcare field where they are subject to HIPAA laws, and this is in the US, so I'm not sure if there's something similar in the UK, but basically HIPAA healthcare privacy laws. You have to be extremely, extremely careful of responding to reviews. Even if the person says, I'm a patient and I went to this chiropractor and afterwards I felt amazing. They fixed my back and I don't feel any pain anymore. The business cannot go in and respond and say, we're so glad we could help you with your back trouble, even though they've already stated their client a patient. Basically, things like those, if you're subject to HIPAA, I keep it short and simple. Thank you for your review. That's it. Otherwise, you could get in trouble with violating HIPAA laws, and you definitely want to stay away from that. So if you have any clients that are in healthcare, most of them right now are aware of it. I think a while back, it was something that was relatively new talked about, but I would just make sure if you've got any clients that are subject to that, that you make sure that they are aware of it. One tip is you can ask your clients to include pictures when they leave a review. That definitely can help come up and show in searches as well. If you've got customers at your location and you've got Wi-Fi, please make sure your customers are not leaving reviews while they're using your Wi-Fi, because Google will filter those reviews out. Okay. One thing, and I should have mentioned this before, I put my note in the wrong place. We were talking about incentivizing and making sure that you don't incentivize reviews. One thing that you can do, instead of incentivizing reviews, you can incentivize your staff in order to get more reviews. What that means is, so let's say you've got a business, and let's say it's a HVAC business, and you've got different service technicians. You can incentivize them and run a contest for the staff, not the employees, not the customers leaving the reviews, but for your staff, to say, okay, this month, the people that get the most number of reviews is going to get a reward, whatever that reward is, whether it's a gift card somewhere, whether it's whatever is good for that business. You can incentivize your staff to, that will help them basically ask for more reviews, because, you know, a lot of times the best ask is in person, and then having that follow-up process in place and that system in place is good. But the first in-person ask can really be the most important. So having that where you're incentivizing your employees to ask and have that ask up front is really something that that can really help. There, a lot of businesses have seen a benefit from that. So that's something that if a business is having trouble getting reviews, that's something they may want to think about and put into place. Again, make sure that the staff understands Google guidelines as far as they can't incentivize or anything as far as when they're requesting the reviews. You can also encourage customers to leave reviews with over 100 words, because Google likes to showcase those reviews. And also, if someone's a local guide, sometimes that can help. If their local guides leave your review, those can help as well. So those are kind of just some different tips as far as when you're getting reviews and asking for reviews. Now, one thing is, in March of 2022, just over a year ago, Google tightened its review filter. And I've heard there's been a lot of businesses impacted, and a lot of them, the ones that I see the most impact on are small local small businesses. And basically what's happening is legitimate reviews are either they're not going live or they're getting removed. And the main thing to say about this is basically it's collateral damage from some of the bad actors out there. We all know that there are fake reviews out there, and so Google does try to cut back on that. However, in doing that, legitimate reviews have gotten caught in the process. So that's something that you need to be aware of. I've got some tips I'm going to go through and talk to you about, but it is not a coincidence that this happened in March, and it was in January of 2022 that the FTC fined that business $4.2 million for review gating. So basically, the FTC is getting more involved in regulating those fake reviews, and that's just something to be aware of and understand that Google is under pressure from the FTC to clean up their Review Act. So just be aware of it and know the different things that are happening. So Google, March 2022, they tightened their review filter. There are a couple of different things that are going on that you can see, and your clients may come up and say, we've got this issue. One is where basically a reviewer leaves the review, but it's only the reviewer can see it. It's not actually live on the map. So the person's like, oh, I've left a review. Here it is right here. But no one else can see it. So it's not live on the map. Another one is where someone leaves a review. It actually goes live. And then sometime after that, it then goes missing. Google has removed and deleted it. Those are some different issues that businesses are having. One thing is Google will do sweeps and delete reviews. And basically Google's AI will look at accounts and decide if the reviews, they don't look, maybe the reviews look a little shady. They will take down the reviews that they think that are not real reviews. And one category that has caught in this quite a bit are lawyers. That category, they've seen a lot of reviews go missing overnight, and that's where Google's done a sweep of those and decided to remove some of their reviews. One thing to note is some categories, Google does pause the category and say that if this business has this primary category, then we're not going to allow them to even get reviews. So, for example, after Roe v. Wade was overturned, a lot of reproductive clinics couldn't get new reviews. Google basically turned it off, and so that they couldn't get new reviews. And because that was one thing that Google did not want them to have what's called a negative review attack. People that didn't have any experience with the location actually leaving a review on there. So those are things that can happen. Also, schools. Mostly, I've seen most public schools cannot get reviews. Google's paused that category. I have seen private schools with some reviews, so it could depend on that specific school and the category if they can and are allowed to get reviews. Another thing is new profiles. I've seen new profiles that have a hard time getting new reviews. Basically, they'll get someone will leave them a review and they won't go live. And this can be especially if it's a service-based business. Brick and mortar, not so much. But if you've got a service-based business, they found it hard to get reviews. So a lot of times I've had a client that I worked with and reached out to Google to get those reviews to go live and was successful in that. Sometimes when you've got these issues on these reviews, sometimes you can reach out to Google to try to get it resolved. Sometimes you're successful and sometimes you're not. One of the things that you need to basically is have a screenshot of the review. And that can be really hard because you've asked your client to leave a review and then you're nagging them saying, well, now I need a screenshot because it's not live on Google, but they're seeing it. So they're saying,
Hey, everybody. Not sure why we lost Tricia there. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of her. So just bear with us for just a minute, please. I will try and reach out to Tricia. In the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free, post them in here. Google review questions, Google business profile, any of that. And we'll get those to Tricia. And I am going to see if I can find her and get her back in here. I'll be right back. There you are.
Okay. I just sent him. I was like, I'm coming back. I'm coming. I don't know what happened. So I apologize.
No worries. I vamped for a little bit and then I was sending you an email. So the stage is yours.
Yes, I was here messaging you saying I'm coming back. Okay. So so I was talking about reviews not going live. And basically one of the things is you can definitely reach out to Google. I have had some success with it, but it's not something that I've had that I can say guarantee, yes, we're going to get this resolved. So sometimes you may want to look and decide, is it worth it to go? So if you've got a lot of reviews and maybe like just one or two have gone missing, it may not be worth it to go and spend the time asking for checking with Google and trying to get those back, because there are times that you just get a rejection and Google says no. However, if you've got a small business and you don't maybe get as many reviews, that's a case where it may be worth it. So definitely something to think about and consider. Let's see, we do have a couple questions. Let's see. tried a Bright Local review tool without success for a client. Is it bad to use this tool? So I do like Bright Local. I've used them before. I haven't used their process to get reviews, but I know it. I've worked in it and set one up, and then I decided not to use that. But I don't think it's not bad to use that tool. There's Bright Local has a tool. Gather Up has one. And there's some others. Those are some of the two of the main ones that I know, and they do have things in place so that you are making sure that you're not doing things like review gating and things like that. So a lot of it is you have to know that I'm trying to think what the numbers are. It's a lot of it is a numbers game as far as how many reviews you're getting. So part of it is how many reviews is the client asking for, and part of that is how many customers do they have. So there are different ways you can set those up, and basically when you're asking for reviews, some of them say like, how was your experience, good or bad, leave us feedback, and then after the feedback it says, okay, now leave us a review, whether the feedback is good or bad. And that does add an extra layer on there for them. So most times if you're doing it that way with that extra level in there, it's around, from what I understand, 10%. So if you're asking for 100 people for reviews, you might get 10. If you're doing the email that just first thing off, it says, thank you for your business, please leave us a review. Because you don't have that extra step in there, you are getting a higher number of reviews on third parties. So that I think is around 17%. So out of 100, you might get 17. So that's one thing, Jeanette, to look at as far as how many review requests are actually going out. And the customers, and that's one thing. It is important to find out from the client, did they give that personal ask as well? Adding that at the very beginning can really be important, especially if you've got a small business where you don't have tons and tons of monthly customers. Having that ask up front and basically saying, can you please do us a favor and leave us a Google review? We're really trying to work on our profile, and it would really mean a lot to us, asking that. Let's see. Brian says, are there any visibility relevance changes to posting links directly to individual Google reviews via post or other platforms? Okay, so I think you're asking, make sure I understand, like you're saying like to showcase those reviews on as Google posts or in other platforms. I would say doing that in things like social media is good to showcase reviews. Google posts, you can do them in Google posts. However, I haven't seen them be quite as effective in a Google post, because Google posts are really your Google ad space, like free ad space. And that's just my term I'm putting on it. You consider that your free Google ad space, where you can post different things. So with Google posts, I primarily focus on specific services, products, and any specials and things. I typically don't post about reviews on there. You can if you want to do it, but I wouldn't do it a lot, because I don't think they have quite the impact on Google posts as they do for something else. If you want to post something on Facebook or LinkedIn or something like that, I think it would have more impact on another social platform. So those are the different things. I mentioned not to bulk request. Basically, don't send one email out to all your clients asking for reviews. What happens is that they will, if you get a large number of people leaving reviews at once, most likely Google's going to filter a high number of those out, because you're getting them all at once, and Google wants to see it look up and appear organic. So let's say you have you're just starting to put a review system in place. One thing is to drip those out when you're requesting. If you're doing like, let's say you're saying, okay, these are our customers over the last year, we want to ask for reviews. Don't send it to all of them, drip it out and send, one or two a day, and send it out like that, not all in one email. So Um, the other thing, next thing I want to talk about is basically reviews that are not maybe abuse and not quite legitimate and shouldn't be used. So the first one would be employee reviews. Basically, Google says that employees should not leave reviews for business, and this could be past employees that basically leave a review that's negative to the business because they were an employee. They're for whatever reason they're not anymore. These you can submit to Google and request that they be taken down. I will say that if they don't state it in the review that they just recently worked for this business, it can be hard to get that removed because Google wants proof that is public information. And the main way to get that is if they have it listed on something like, let's say, a LinkedIn profile or something like that, that they worked at this business. It needs to be out there for the public. And you can't use things like your pay stub or W-9 or something like that, which is private information. Google won't even consider that when you're asking for that to be removed. So those, even though it's not pursuant to Google guidelines, that they're not allowed to leave them, a lot of times it is hard to get them taken down. And one thing to note is that Google doesn't get between a user and a business if there's a disagreement whether or not someone has left a review. So as far as getting reviews removed, there are some guideline review policy. I'm going to put a link in here for that so that you can see. And basically things you can see on there, things like language and stuff. There's a lot of different things that Google doesn't like. You can report and flag those if you've got something on there that is not compliant with Google guidelines on that. The one thing that has seen a rise in are fake reviews. And I will tell you that there are businesses who have had basically what's called a review attack, where a ton of fake people leave a ton of negative reviews for business. And those are things that you can reach out to Google and let Google know. And depending on the situation, you can ask, if you're under a severe review attack, ask Google to freeze from getting new reviews and then deal with those reviews that are on there. But one thing that it is against Google guidelines, against the FTC, and against all things to go and buy reviews. Those are basically the fake reviews. But one thing, some businesses, while they understand that that's not ethical and they shouldn't be doing it, one thing is if one of these people contacts you and says, why don't you buy some reviews from, we're selling reviews, to not engage with them at all. Sometimes simply engaging back, they see that, you're responding to them. And that's not a good thing, because then they may try to do something funny and leave you bad reviews. So when I say people pay for reviews, of course they pay for positive reviews for their business, but they also may pay for negative reviews for their competitors. So both of those are definitely stay away from anything like that. One thing is, I've heard of businesses buying positive reviews from some of these places that do this. And then when they decide to stop paying for it, they say, we've got enough, we're good. Then the people that they had hired to do it, which are not on the up and up, they basically come back and say, oh, well, if you don't keep paying us, we're going to change these 5-star reviews to 1-star reviews, so keep on paying. So the bottom line on that is, just do not engage, stay away from any type of those fake review, all of those. Just make sure that your clients know, don't engage with them at all. if you are under a fake review attack, that is definitely something that you can reach out to Google and work and let them know, and so that you can try to get things frozen and try to get those reviews taken down, the fake reviews. And so this is something I have seen happen, and that is something that not all the time, but you can be successful, especially if it's pretty obvious. Google will look at things like the user, like, is it a user that all they did was went into this one category and left all 1-star reviews in this one area. So let's say it's in Atlanta, and it was plumbers, and you see this one user went to like 50 plumbers and left 1-star reviews for all the plumbers in this one area in Atlanta. That's something that very well Google could then suspend that user and remove all of their reviews. But that's those are severe situations, but it is something that can happen, and we have seen. So just something to be aware of. But reviews, I will tell you, with the tightening of the review filter for Google, I've lots of small businesses having a hard time because they're smaller. They don't get as many reviews. So when they lose that one review, it can be difficult. You can reach out to Google, and sometimes you can be successful, but then again, sometimes it's not. So just something to keep in mind. So those are the notes I wanted to go through today. We've got quite a few links on here as far as different review guidelines. Also, the FTC. Please make sure you're not doing something that goes against the FTC, because they've got lots of different things. That whole FTC review link has lots of good information. And I would say the FTC, if they're putting that information out there, definitely need to look at it and be compliant with that. And so want to open it up for any more questions. We had quite a few questions that I went through, and it was answering them as we went. But does anyone else have any further questions on reviews? Any clients that have had issues with reviews? Let me know. I will definitely help see what we can do.
Thank you so much, Tricia. That was really enlightening and lots of good information.
Yes.
The Google Business Profile topic is always a hot, complicated topic when we dig into it.
Yes, it definitely is. Definitely is.
And I want to thank everybody that has been watching live with us today and has already submitted their really great questions. So thank you to all of you who were able to join us live and ask your questions. We do these every month with Tricia. So it is the third Thursday of the month.
Yes.
Is that right?
At 2 p.m.
Third Thursdays at 2 p.m. And if you're watching this live stream, you're watching this recording after the fact, and you have questions for Tricia, bring them next month. Join us in the Facebook group. I'll put that link in here if you're not already a member. And you can tag Tricia over there and ask questions. You can email me, emily@gowp.com. I'll also, let me post Tricia's website here as well, so you can reach out to her. Is that the best place for folks to get in touch with you, Tricia?
Yeah, Your Biz Watchdog. Yeah, you can go on there. I do have links, and I have a link for agencies as well that have questions about white label things as well.
Awesome, fantastic. So if you're watching this recording and you've got questions for Tricia, questions about Google reviews, questions about citations that we covered last month, I think we just did a general Google Business Profile kind of overview the first month. So we've covered a lot of great stuff. All of these recordings are available. If you're watching on YouTube, you can look at our library, our channel there, and we've got these recordings available, and same thing in the Facebook group. So you can find them there. And we'll be back again next month with another session with our expert, Tricia Clements, on Google Business Profile and local SEO. So gather your questions and bring them next month. And Tricia will be here to answer them, because she's always got an answer, or is willing to find one. Although I don't think we've stumped you yet. So still waiting on that one.
To be ready. Thanks so much.
And I love Jeanette's comment too. She said she'll leave us a review. So thank you, Jeanette. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tricia. Thank you everyone who watched today, who joined us live. and asked your questions. It was amazing. And we'll see you all next month.